So would the panel like to speak to why nuclear energy is not a solution? As people are grappling to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the United States, mostly at the level of state governments, what are the problems with nuclear? How does it pan out in terms of its costs as well as the other issues associated with it?
Want me to start? Why not? Anyone else volunteer?
Brent should talk to you.
You want to start?
No, you start.
Well, I would say, first of all, fissile materials, radioactive materials, nuclear power, nuclear weapons.
Problems with this radioactive waste that's live and dangerous for hundreds of thousands, indeed millions of years in the case of some of the elements there. And even if you didn't have terrorists, you would not want to invest in a nuclear power plant if you wanted to deal with global warming. We have to move fast. Nuclear power plants take a long time to build, number one. And how many would you have to build? If you're just going to reduce global temperature by 1/5 of a degree centigrade, you'd need thousands of new nukes. How are you going to build thousands of new nukes? You'd have to have them coming online every other week from now to the year 2050. And with the cost of cement and steel, this is just not in the cards. But here's another reason. Apart from the vast volume that you would need all over the place, if you've got $100 billion to spend, or $50 billion, or whatever you have to spend, you can go 5 to 10 times farther by putting your money on already on the ground available technology that can be deployed in anywhere from 6 to 18 months, not 10 to 20 years.
Right.
Why would anybody want to throw money to a big market loser when you've got market winners ready to go almost immediately to get the problem solved? So
What are the market winners?
Yeah, that,
the market winners are all sorts of end-use efficiency improvements. Cogeneration has not been taken advantage of. End-use efficient appliances like refrigerators use half the energy they did in the 1980s. Putting in new building designs dramatically lowers the energy operating cost there. All sorts of these, together with wind being a viable competitor now to nuclear power plants. And people should know that wind farms go up within a year. The ones that I visited have gone up in less than 8 months.
Very simple
wow.
technology.
And I've also heard that there's only maybe 100 years worth of uranium on the planet. So that it really makes nuclear impractical from any angle you look
Yes,
at it.
although I would say even if you had it abundant, you don't want to be mining and getting this stuff into commerce.
Right.
It's too dirty.
You want to leave it underground as deep as you can.
Yeah, you don't want to get at it even if you had it everywhere. It's too lethal.
But you could actually build breeder reactors. We've all been trying to get away from breeder reactors that produce plutonium because it produces pretty much weapons-grade plutonium. And you could then recycle, keep building breeders, and you actually produce not only energy, but you produce plutonium, which you can recycle in a new fuel. But the danger there, of course, is it's an enormous proliferation risk. You then produce, if the Iranians or the North Koreans or anyone wants, ourselves or the Russians or anyone else wants to produce breeders and plutonium, it's not particularly seen as a healthy choice from a proliferation perspective.
Can anyone explain why there is so much political power behind the nuclear industry, given that it's so impractical from all these angles?
I would say one thing, they're spending tens of millions of dollars on ridiculous but very
Glossy.
very glossy. But it's a meretricious campaign to say nuclear is clean. It's a contradiction in terms, given the world's most lethal radioactive wastes that are coming out, but they are very effective lobbyists.
Yeah.
20 years ago, if you had said, what's the dirty threat, you would have said nuclear, right?
Right.
Now people would say carbon. So because nuclear isn't carbon, right,
Right.
it looks like it's cleaner than the bad thing that's causing global warming, so it looks better on that basis, I think.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
Is there a connection between the nuclear and oil industries? Does anyone know? I was just sort of curious. Or is that just like an autonomous,
Autonomous lobby.
corporate interest, if you will?
Well, there are some overlaps. I mean, you have utilities
Who own both.
who own coal
That's
and
right.
nukes, like Exelon
Right.
and Duke Power.
Maryland has that.
And,
Right.
and so forth. So you've got that, and you have other the transnational oil companies own a variety of things, including, I believe, if you check some uranium mining operations and other things. Their tentacles are vast.
Right. That's, I was curious to get.
And
draw that
there are
out.
similarities in that they're all centralized. I mean, these are big, massive,
Yes.
centralized power plants, which what Brent is talking about is basically decentralizing or localizing power, which I think is inevitable. Everybody with, a zero energy home or at least a partial zero energy home with green energy efficient technology will be a wave of the future.